have infused into
And
it.
in America, the audience is primarily girls buying the manga books?
There is a, yeah, I believe I read it in the Graphic Artists Guild handbook that a majority of manga readers are female.
Have you gotten feedback from your readership that makes you feel that you're having an impact like you want to?
Well, so far the first chapter is available online, so that's only 32 pages. And because it's sort of this, you know, big story, it's not enough yet to have introduced the skepticism. It's introducing the characters and the big whole mess of the prophecy and everything. But I have received feedback so far from people wanting more and liking what they've read so far, even though it's, you know, it's only 32 pages so far. I did some talking about it, as I said, in February at TED Active, and people checked it out and had a lot of good things to say about it. And at TED, there are a lot of people who, you know, they're scientists or physicists, and you know, they're in the sciences, or they have the skeptical lean and are excited about, you know, any kind of art helping communicate the message of science.
So how do you plan to get it into them? Because it seems like right now, you know, in your beginning, you're almost preaching to the choir, because obviously we're the ones most open and interested in it. What are your plans to get it into the hands of everybody and hopefully do what you're trying to do?
My biggest plan, which I'm working on right now, is to land a U.S. manga publisher. I think would be the best way, especially specifically a manga publisher, because manga is sold a bit differently than the American comic books are. They're sold typically a different market, and they're often sold in different places. Where manga, you'll have more manga in the libraries and in, you know, the mainstream bookstores. So that's my goal right now, is to get it in print. Even though, you know, the web is great and, you know, it instantly goes out to the world. Getting it in print and in that, you know, in the manga publishing world is my main focus right now.
I assume you'd need more issues, though. I mean, what I've seen, they seem to be more popular in more of an anthology or omnibus form.
Yeah, they come in these little, like graphic novel format in like 250 page volumes. So right now it is like pitching the proposal of the series.
Right now you're doing basically a fictionalized accounting and using skepticism as part of it. There was last year, I was trying to get some speakers here, authors of Logic Comics. I don't know if you've heard of that or not. And it dealt with Bertrand Russell, who's up here. And it was based on something that, you know, on reality, on what actually happened, and it had made it in a comic format, a whole big book length. I wondered if you thought about doing anything like that with a real character, or will you stay in sort of this what you're doing now?
Well, I prefer the creating fiction, I love creating the characters and the different worlds and their relationships. But one thing that I had thought of was through these series of manga guides to biology, manga guides to physics that you can find online that have been licensed here in North America recently. And so as soon as I saw those, I thought, manga guide to skepticism, you know, right away. So that would be something that I would be interested in.
How fantastical does this story get? I understand, you know, it's sci-fi in nature, it's dealing with other planets, etc. But obviously you're applying scientific principles and logic and everything else. I mean, but with battles and everything else, do we have anything that could be arguably considered magic in this, or is it really all within a realm of realism, or at least as realistic as manga gets?
It's within the realm of realism, and wherever there's the magic, it's like like
There's an answer.
there's an answer, or it's again an opportunity to say, well, we don't know, but it's not magic.
Got it. Got it.
That sort of thing.
Accepting that we don't understand this principle, we can't just assume
Right.
it's an easy answer. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
How much of your personal time does this take? I mean, do you have a job on, you know, and you do this on the side for fun, or are you doing this full time?
I'm a freelance illustrator primarily, and I'm lucky that I, specific to manga, I don't have to fall back on graphic design background and do pamphlets and posters and websites. So yeah, I do freelance illustration contract work for publishers. I've done work, I'm not sure if they have it down here. In the US, there's a company in Canada called Chickadee and Owl Kids, who put out these little magazines with activities and articles in it for children. So I did some manga illustration work for them, and there's a book out about the first emperor of China that I illustrated. You can find on Amazon. So yeah, that's my work is illustration contracts, and then this is what I hope to turn into my work.
How long does it take you to, once you get the conception and to draw a frame?
It takes a long time. I never had any kind of I used to do panels in Canada at anime convention where they paired me with these two awesome animators, and then had brought me in Learn to Draw Manga panels, brought me in as like the manga expert. And these animators, because they're animators, they can draw really well, really quickly. Like, it's like, yeah, there's a person in proportion, where me, I don't have any animation background whatsoever. So it's like, yes, I'm gonna draw a person, see it in 4 hours, type of thing. So actually, I drew this specifically for this. So last night I did the sketch and inked it into the wee hours of the morning, and then started coloring it. And so yeah, I had it done today. So that was fairly good, but yeah, it took me a long time. So it's a slow process, especially with this. Doing this would be a lot quicker than doing the story for Legend of the Star. I do storyboards, and then I lay out panels of the pages, and then I do the pencils, and then to do the inking, and then to do the toning. So a page of artwork for the story takes a lot longer than sort of like a pin-up drawing.
And you're doing it entirely on your own?
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
See, the comic convention may come up here to LA, I hear. The one that was in San Diego.
Comic-Con?
Comic-Con?
Yeah, I think Anaheim or something is hoping that they'll move the San Diego Comic-Con in Anaheim. I'm not sure.
Have you been there with your work
It's gotta go to
in
Vegas.
San Diego?
What's that?
Have you been with your work in San Diego?
I haven't. Up until recently, up until last year was my first time in California, when I was a TED fellow at the TED in Long Beach. And so basically I'm based in Canada. So when I was in Canada, it was really, especially I'm not in Toronto, Toronto's easy to hop on a plane and get to LA. I'm in like the boreal forest of Europe. So it costs more to fly from my little town to Toronto than from Toronto to LA. So it was mainly Canadian anime conventions and